Hey everybody, welcome to this Environmental Station Alpha any % tutorial. I'm gonna go through all of the basic tricks, the routes, the control scheme, and kind of how you should expect to bring your PB down and as you play through the game. It's really fun, you should definitely give it a try. It's not a very long speed game, but there's a lot of really interesting movement tech and speedrun tricks and skips. So if you ever tried giving this, or if you ever played this game, anything like that, I would definitely recommend giving the any % speedrun a try. The first thing that we're going to go over is controls. You can play this game on keyboard or gamepad. Personally, I play it on keyboard, but it really depends on whatever makes the tricks easier to you. In particular, there are 3 different one-frame tricks that require different button presses, so it'll be helpful for you if you position those buttons in a way that makes things easy for you. I do something a little bit special for one of them that makes certain tricks easier, but you can kind of do what you want. As a little heads up, like the way I do it is movement on the WASD keys, and then sort of my verb keys, shooting, jumping. Down is hookshot, ability 1 is hookshot, ability 2 is dash, using my arrow keys. If you want to know the buttons for the one-frame tricks, because that might affect how you set them up, basically, one of them uses the use and map keys. One of them uses use, map, and shoot. And one of them uses jump and hookshot. So personally, when I do speedrun tricks, if I have to do something in a one-frame window, I find it a lot easier if I do that with one hand. And that's why all of the things that I do speedrun tricks with are all with my right hand. The control button that I use for the map key is the right control button, which on my keyboard is literally right next to my left arrow key. You'll notice that my shoot and use are both the same. I'll explain why I do that and why there's kind of upsides and downsides once we actually get to the trick. The only other thing that you need to know about the controls is that you want jump hold to be set to yes. What this means is that as long as you are inputting the jump button, like up for me, you will be inputting a jump. If you're allowed, when you land on a surface while the jump hold button is on, you will instantly input a jump. It also means that when you are swimming, you will input a jump on every frame because you are always allowed to jump while swimming. This makes the movement in the swimming sections a lot more consistent, and it's much, much better. It makes some tricks just a lot easier. That's all you really need to know as far as controls are concerned, so let's jump into a game. So, for this version, we're doing any % normal inbounds, but by that I actually mean easy. The only difference between easy and normal is that on easy you have more health and you take less damage from things. So everyone who runs it on easy. There's also the challenge mode that is a version that we do. That's a completely different mode because that actually starts you with both dashes and that completely changes the routing. But if you're gonna run this in the category that most people do it, it is any % easy. Timing starts as soon as you click the button, as soon as you choose your difficulty, because the game will start then. You'll notice I'm going up and down here. That's because the game will actually loop back to its title screen if I'm not inputting things here. So don't dilly-dally on this too long. When we do start it, I am going to immediately attempt to do a trick, and if I fail it, I'm just going to continue the run, but I'll explain what it is, I'll get some video on it, and we'll see how it goes. Ah, there's the loop. Not pressing buttons, my bad. But let's go. So yes, timing starts right here. The first thing you're going to want to do is mash out your map button once you see your character, and the reason for that is because you want to get text storage on that first text box that popped up there. Text storage is basically a state where you have a text box up, but you also have full control of your character. This is really useful because the way the switching system works, the way that like switches and flags work in this game is usually tied to the text boxes, like a text box closing in a certain room. And it doesn't matter what text box it is, just that it closes in this room and that sets it off. We'll see that a few times in the run. If you do get the text storage, you're going to want to keep it until you get to the boss room that's coming up, which means that you'll have to be a little bit careful with it throughout this room. You can see that I'm shooting everywhere. Shooting is the button that advances text when you're in text storage. And that means that if the text box that you have stored is at the end of its scroll and you shoot, you will go on to the next text box, which means that you'll want to get through that previous room there with the vines with few enough shots that you don't scroll through the entirety of the text box. The text that you want to look out for is the one that tells you what button can open your map and settings. That's the last text box. If you get to there and it gets to the end of it, you can't shoot anymore. I'll potentially show this off with a different text box once we find one, but if text is still scrolling, you can keep shooting. Like, it'll only go to the next text box once the text has reached the end, and you can use that to cheat a few extra shots in. So we'll see if I go and record a better version of this room at a later date. Either way, if you have text storage, when you go into this room, you want to get through about here because the blocks happen, like the door will close on you about here. Jump out of the way and remove the text storage. That will mean that you don't have to go to that monitor over there and activate it to make the boss appear. Since we don't have text storage, we're just going to go over here, hit it, and activate the boss. This first boss is fairly simple. You can get him down to 2 cycles as long as your shooting is fairly good. And by the way, the text storage only saves you the time of walking over to this monitor and clearing this text box. That's why we don't worry too much about getting it, especially when you're starting out. Like, it's not really a big time save. There's other places where it's easier to practice text storage and a bit more effective. So I am going to hit the map button to skip out of this text. You can do that for any text screen, and that's what you want to do. The biggest thing about this boss, don't worry about taking damage. He will fire 6 shots here and then fall down on you. He's only vulnerable when he's doing that, or when his electricity field light thing has come off. As soon as he falls down on you, you can get a shot in, but the biggest thing you're going to want to do is just work on your shooting speed. Which, I should probably mention, since this is a fight where it's relevant, you'll probably have a lot of trouble 2-cycling in before you get used to this. Mashing out shoot in this game, which is what I'm doing here, is not actually as efficient as just developing a good rhythm. When I first played this game, I was a pretty hefty masher. The big thing is that there is a bit of a cooldown after you shoot, but it's very consistent, which means that if you're able to get this, you will be able to shoot very quickly, much faster than, like, as you can see, like, my rhythm. I can kind of sort of get it in sprints, but this is kind of exhausting, and still not as good as just getting used to this. So I'd recommend practicing trying to do this. See just how fast you can go before you start dropping shots like that. And you'll be able to kill bosses like this much more effectively. So going onwards, we actually end up really starting the game. This text box you just want to skip through. This text box, if you could get storage on it, it would be really good. The timing is really awkward though, so don't worry about that. We're going to go to the level 2 security door next, and basically all you want to do here is try to fall down this. Those 2 bugs will hit you in your way, so like as you're starting to fall, just, you know, shoot them out of the way. Going ahead here, you need to make a little platform for yourself. More than once I have shot this block out and not been able to get up, so be a little careful with your shots here. And in this room we are going to do our first text storage. So come down here. If you can hit one of these fish, it's a good thing actually, because you'll get boosted upwards. If you don't hit it, just hold your tap jump and you'll get up there relatively quickly. So this door is locked. You need to go to that room on the right in order to unlock it. What we are going to do to make that a little bit faster is text storage. The reason that we always do this one but don't really do the first one is that you can get text storage on any monitor in the game, and you're actually in control of that text storage when you do it, because the way that text storage works is you want to press the map button on the first frame that a text box is active. That will bring up the map screen and set it off, and like also bring up the text box. Then if you press shoot, you'll exit the map screen and the text box will still be up. You'll have the full text storage. When you have control of when the text box comes up, it's much, much easier to get your text storage. So if I do it here, the input is your use button, which for me is my shoot button, and your map button on consecutive frames. So you want to kind of slightly piano your input to make it one frame apart. I will do it here and show you what it looks like. That is a failure. It'll be pretty obvious, basically. You want to make sure to press the shoot button before the first text box finishes scrolling. It won't break the thing unless the text storage, unless there's only one text box on it. But it will mean that you get one extra shot. So I know that there's a second text box in this text screen, and that means that if I was to go shoot at any point during this, it would not break it. A lot of times that fish that's like on the bottom that you can just barely see from the text box will end up inside of this hallway, and that makes it really, really hard to get through without shooting. So when you have an extra shot here, you shoot, it gives you this level 2 access required, and you get it out of the way, like without losing the text storage. So you want to go in here. You see that screen over there? That's what you're actually supposed to hit to get the storage, or to turn on, to open up the security doors. If you leave a text box in anywhere in this room, you can see over there that it's activated. All level 2 doors are now open because a text box got closed in this room. That saves you walking all the way across the room, potentially getting hit. It's really nice, and it's a good way to practice text storage, which will also help you learn teleporter storage, one of the other tricks we'll want to do. Now these doors are open. That was the whole reason we came here, so let's make our way to the double jump. We will skip a boss to get to the double jump using some kind of sort of post-game content. This jump right here, like, should probably mention, I don't know if this game has coyote time exactly, but as you can see, like, you can get way, way off this block, and it is extremely worth learning how to do this because it saves you, like, 3 jumps and a fall off. But yeah, if I try to do this from like here, I did make it. Wild. But yeah, if you're just doing this kind of quickly, a lot of the time when you're coming back this way, you'll miss this a bunch. Just walk a little further than you think you're comfortable with, and you'll make it every time. The game also does have variable jump heights, so if you need your full height on a jump, make sure that you hold the button down. So we make our way through here. You're gonna want to save at this terminal and continue onwards this way. This is going to be the first damage boost of the run. The reason we did the switch was to get this door open, and we're going to go over here and basically immediately cash in on it. That fly that you can just barely see on the edge of the screen is going to damage boost us up to a place that we're not supposed to get. And that makes now a really good time to explain how knockback works in this game. When you get hit, you will always be sent backwards, regardless of where you were hit. I believe the exact Y coordinate you get hit at determines the amount of knockback, but basically, if you're facing to the left and you get hit, you will move to the right. If you are facing to the right and you get hit, you'll move to the left. We're going to take advantage of that here. First things first, you're going to need to activate that fly. It's a little bit tough to do if you don't do it here. So you're going to want to jump on this second block, jump up to grab him, and then fall between the two blocks. This is the jump that you're going to want to make, because if you've played the game, you know there's a secret path here, and we're going to make use of that. The way that this jump, basically what you want to do is the one fluid motion that I did there. About the point when the fly gets to the grass, because it's going to swing down at you in a big arc and come up at you from the bottom. So when it's just about at the grass, you're going to want to jump up and rub yourself against the right wall. That's the one that's right below me here. Just as the fly is about to hit you, and when you hit the height of your jump, turn yourself back to the left, and you'll get hit by the fly, and it will knock you up and to the right, which will be enough to get you height on this. This is the sort of trick that you'll probably be able to get once or twice without too much trouble, but that you definitely have to practice to make consistent. I'll try to get some footage here showing it in slow motion and missing it and stuff like that. If you miss the first go around, it's a bit harder to set up, but you just want to time it so that he's coming at you. You jump over to this side and you turn with just the right timing to get knocked backwards. Once you do that, you can kill him and then stand here for, I think it's 5 seconds, and this doorway will open. We go through here because it's a secret area that skips the boss fight that we would have to do to get the double jump. The movement in this is a little bit awkward. This hill, you can't just walk right up it. It tends to take, I think, 5 jumps to get up here from standing state. So if you manage to get it in 5 jumps, you're pretty much set. Here, you just want to fall as effectively as possible. So try not to hit any ledges, any stuff like that. Line yourself up when you land so that you land down in here. You go through this doorway, and we are now past the point that we would have to fight the Queen Beetle, and we've skipped that fight entirely. These flies can be a little bit annoying. Try to get through this room basically the way I did, but quicker. You can save here. Saving is basically free, but we're actually about to come up to this. We're about to come back here, because you get this double jump. Neat. And we're back. So with this, we actually want to make our way back to the start, because if you've played the game before, you know that up here is the V-dash, which is basically the last upgrade that you get in the main sequence of the game. You're going to get that right now. Let's do it. So your double jump changes your movement a little bit. We'll talk about the ways that you want to move when we're going for the hook shot. The thing that you need to know about this room is that these worms, you can't kill them, and they are random which hole they go to. You'll want to start this off by jumping about as late as you can for this one here. It's not that hard to make it, but if you jump too early, you're not actually going to make it over. You won't anger this guy normally. Try not to. But basically, you just want to go off these mushrooms that are on the top and go through. This room will be really annoying because you'll get through it like without anything happening to you 10 times in a row, and then a worm will just happen to block your path. Try not to worry about it too much. In this room, we're gonna start getting into basically how jumps work and how you should be a little bit like doing a double jump that you don't need to costs you a very small amount of time, so you should try not to do it. In this particular room, your the first jump up to here doesn't need a double jump. Every other one does until you get up to here where you don't. That said, if you're just running this game for the first time, don't worry too much about that. We're just gonna make our way over. There's sort of like some super efficient stuff that you can do to make these rooms a bit faster. But as a beginner, we're actually gonna go over here and get our first energy tank. So as you get better at this game, you won't need any more health tanks than you start out with. Like in easy mode, you start with 15 health. That's enough to beat the game. When you're just starting out though, you should get these. You should get these health tanks, trust me. This is the first one. It's the longer of the two that we get. So when you're feeling a bit more confident in the game, in your skills with the game, cut that one out first. Because you basically, when you don't have to get this, you just go straight upwards to that exit up there. You skip out on running through like 3 rooms worth of stuff. But for now, grab that E-Tank, come back along this way, and head up here. Very easy to forget that there's 2 straight rooms of going like up and left here, but not too hard to get through. Make your way back through here. This fly is gonna start chasing you. As he catches up, you can just jump around and shoot him. Save here. Really, really important. We are about to do a strategy that does 4 damage boosts, and that if you miss the boat on the last one, you will basically trap yourself and require yourself to walk through like 2 screens worth of stuff, and it might be faster to restart to load from save. Either way, this strategy can be fairly tough until you figure it out. You're gonna want to go up here. The fastest quote-unquote way to do it is basically kind of similar to that. This is a surprisingly difficult part, and you'll just want to practice it until it goes through. We are going to jump up, and whatever direction this dude is walking in determines how we do this trick. Damage boost here, jump, get hit, then do your double jump, and you'll end up here on this spot that you're supposed to have the golden key for. He can be moving either right or left when it starts, so let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. If he's moving left, I find it easier because he's not falling directly on top of me. If he's moving to the right, you actually get 2 chances before he traps himself down in that room. So if you miss this jump here, he then goes up the same way as on the left, so you can just do it like that. If you miss it, as you saw, you can just reset the room by doing here. That's damage boost number 1. Damage boost number 2 is going to be off this fish. The way that this fish works is that every time you get close to him, he shoots, and every time he shoots, he turns around. If he's way off in this corner, this isn't going to work. You're going to need to kite him. If you shoot him, he will change direction. If you shoot him too much, he'll die, though. So kind of careful about that. So we're going to need to take him back down to here. I might even have to like reset the room here to make him work. You want to get over here, and you want to use his spikes to get over to this room. I do it like that. You can also do it where you double jump into one of his spikes, and it hits you, and it knocks you up here. Basically, your goal is to use that up left going spike to hit up here. I would recommend just practicing this, and you'll figure it out. 2 more damage boosts to do, though. This strategy is quite a lot to do your first time. First, as soon as this guy starts moving, you want to jump and hit him. If you miss him, he will basically go over to that side, and you'll get a second chance at it. But that's about it. Once he's over here, I don't know if he stays. No, he'll do one flip, but then he'll kind of rotate around. At this point, if you've missed it the 2 times the 2 chances you get, just reset the room. It's faster that way. But the big thing to know about this one is you want to jump into him, but get backed up enough that you don't double jump and bonk your head on this hookshot block here, or this unhookshotable block. As long as you get the height for this, you'll manage to get it. And again, if you miss, you have a second try. It's fine. Once you get up there, you're on a clock, though. So, especially when you do it on the right side, you'll want a motor. Because instead of getting him stuck on that side of the room, you're going to want to shoot that out, get him over, and use him one last time to boost over these gold blocks. And now we finally have the dash booster. This is kind of what breaks the run in half and makes it so that we don't visit, like, half the map. It's great. Dash booster. So normally, like in a normal run, you won't get this until you already have the dash booster H. So normally when you press dash without having any buttons active, or without pressing any of your keys, you will do a dash up. And, or you'll do a dash left or right, whatever direction you're facing. When you don't have the dash booster H, your dash will be up, which is actually really nice because it means that, like, you know, if you're walking left or right, you can press dash up and you don't have to input an extra up. If you want to dash down, you will have to press down. So just basically try to keep that in mind. The dash booster allows us to do, you know, even more movement stuff. It can act as a triple jump. You have invincibility when you get it, so if you need to, like, just move through a damage square without getting hit, use that. You're gonna do a lot of small hops and then dashing when you're up like here, because the dash booster goes up 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles basically. So if you do a little jump and do this, you'll get up here. You'll get used to movements like that as you go. By the way, you have to get back through that fish room without dying, so good luck. If you have to play this safe, feel free. If you shoot this guy as you go by him, you'll actually put him on the same cycle as you and make it so that if you're moving, he'll move with you. That's kind of a good way to get through that room. Luckily, there's a save point right here. So now we're gonna go all the way through to the scrapping units and the hook shot. While we're on our way, I'm going to explain just some general movements before you get the hook shot. So basically, walking in a straight line versus jumping does not actually change your horizontal motion. What will, though, is jumping into or like against walls and also slanted ceilings, weirdly enough. We'll see an example of that in a little bit. So when you're moving before you get the hook shot, you really just want to be trying to use your jumps and double jumps rather than your V-dash. unless your V-dash will get you up to an area much more quickly. By the way, with jump hold, it is much easier to get through this poison lake. Don't worry too much about it. You don't have to go up here. You instead just use these blocks. Jump up here, and then when you land in the poison water, just hold your jump button, hold right. You will get through it and not take that much damage. So as we walk around here, you'll notice that I'm only using the V-dash for things where, like, I get stuck on a double jump anyway. So this is kind of one place that it makes sense to do it. Get up here, get over here. You just, before you get the hook shot, you just want to keep yourself moving as much as possible. When you double jump or jump up against a ceiling, you will not lose momentum. But if it's a slanted ceiling, you will basically lose, your momentum will go down to 0. And it's not that much time, but over the course of a run, it does start to add up. This teleporter is really important. We're forced to go here, so you literally can't miss it. But keep in mind that we went there. Up next is the heat section. You're meant to go through this without the heat resistant suit normally, so don't worry too much. We're moving very quickly, and we're going to get a health tank in the middle of it. Just keep moving and you'll be fine. You can do some V-dashes straight down here to speed yourself up a little bit. But what you want to do is pop up here, which is very easy with your V-dash, because this gets your second health tank of the run. Now you're at 25 health, more than enough to beat pretty much everything. And when you want to skip the tank, just keep going along this way. It's very easy. This is a good place to show how, like, jumping against a slanted ceiling is basically the same as jumping against a wall. It stops you completely dead. So when you're doing jumps from places like this, you just want to avoid bumping the ceiling. Very minor, but useful to be aware of. Now we're going to make our way up to the scrapping unit. You can totally make this jump, but it is just high enough that you have to get like a full height jump. If you miss it, just double jump. Also, you're going to learn to hate these kinds of flies. Like, just double jump your way up here. Don't worry about it too much. V-dashes are good here because they'll take you straight through the fire without getting hit. This room can be a little bit annoying. The trash can just fall down and hit you. Just make your way through it. The movement in this room is a little bit particular. But again, when you're just starting out, just try to make your way up. There's a save point right here, so even if you take damage, it's not too bad. Up next, we are going to fight the scrapping unit. With the V-dash, this is much easier because you can make your way up into this little nook and get way more damage. We are also going to use the fact that the V-dash does damage. So for phase 1, you just want to, you'll get a few cheeky shots when he spins up first, and you can spin in a few different ways. But then you make your way up here and position yourself right on the corner of this ledge. That will basically allow you to dash into him a bunch of times while shooting and finish the phase really quickly. It is very easy to accidentally mess this up and not quite be close enough. If you do just fall down, don't worry about it too much. You'll be able to still shoot him. You can get back up here because it's much easier to shoot his head and dash at him from here. After you finish this phase, you're going to want to go back and forth across the room shooting these terminals. They all take 5 shots, so this is another good place to practice your shooting rhythm, because that's the easiest way to speed up this section. You can shoot those balls that he shoots down at you. With the health you have, it's very easy to just tank the fight, so don't worry too much about getting hit and taking damage. It'll only slow you down by a little bit. Fairly simple. You'll probably need to practice the strategy for the scrapping unit a bit, figure out how to move his head. It's something I still have trouble with, so, as long as you beat the first phase of the fight, you're in okay shape. Once you finish here, you're going to grab the hook shot. The hook shot is where the run really starts to get, like the movement tech in the run really starts to get a little wild. So it's worth taking the time to explain how this works. When you fire off the hook shot, it will shoot this out. It'll shoot it out basically 3 blocks to up and 3 blocks in whatever direction you're facing. You can get some small changes to it by pressing up or down. You can kind of see that that's going in a different direction. Down, however, if you're on the ground, basically makes it hit the floor and doesn't let you do it. You know, like it won't really help you. The big thing about it is that once the hook shot has hit something, it will swing you in an arc for 20 frames. And if that arc is really short, you're basically stuck for 20 frames barely moving, and it's slower than walking. However, if that arc is really long, you will gain a ton of momentum. There's actually a better room to show this in the next one. So from this point forward, moving well in the run kind of comes down to setting up massive hook shots that will move you way faster than just walking, jumping, etc. would. You can see that, like, you know, if your hook shot chain is super long, you can get a lot. If you don't know, the big thing about it is that, like, jumping effect, you know, like whenever you press the hook shot button, the location that it's going to is set. If you are moving during that time, it affect, you know, like the hook shot will continue to move to the same spot, and that's how you get just massive hook shots. This also means that sometimes it makes sense to not hold straight forward, because holding forward actually lessens the radius of your hook shot. Because, you know, you shoot the hook shot out and then you move in the same direction as it. So this is something that you're just going to want to do a ton of runs and figure out where the best place to fit hook shots is. The big thing to just kind of keep in mind is that whenever you hit with the hook shot, you're stuck for 20 frames. So if you move really slowly with it, it's actually slower than just walking. But if you move if you get really big shots with it, you will save an absolute ton of time. So let's go to actually moving through this room. You saw the jumps I did to get up here. You can use a combination of double jumps and V-dashes to get up. This room, anything that, you know, gets you way up helps, but you want to get over to here without falling. By the way, something that I thought was there but is not, you can't, like, get through here if you end up here. You do have to do a swing to get over. The movement that I have found works about the best is to try to get a big hook shot on the second one. But if you miss this, you get Shadow Realm. So, you know, when you're just starting out, whatever helps you get over to this is the best. So head back over this way. And now we're going to need to get the teleport key, because teleports are very important. When you're falling down this pit here, the second burner will hit you if you're just falling, so you're gonna want to dash through it like that. Save your V-dash for going through that, because if not, you'll take damage. Make our way back into the heated section, and you'll see that now I'm trying to just, like, as I move along, I'm trying to get good hook shots. This is something you'll get better at as you play the game, but you can see that I actually beat this second flame if I manage to get 2 hook shots. If you don't get 2 hook shots, it will hit you if you're just moving forward. So hook shotting, really useful for moving quickly. This room can be really annoying to move through quickly. My best advice to you is, you know, try to get these hook shots. If it helps, kill this guy because he will be a problem. This jump right here, you can either set up a really good hook shot over to there, or just jump on this middle brick and jump your way up here. If you took a bunch of damage in that room, there is a save point over here, so don't worry about it too much. Now we are going to make our way down. Really important that you walk into this room and activate this teleport. In a normal run, it will look kind of like this, or even faster. But you need this teleport on your map for getting back here in the future. Make sure you come over here or it will end your run. After that, we fall down here. You see I go backwards a little bit there because that lets me set up a bit of a nicer hook shot. That's kind of the place where you'll start to see weird hook shot changes, but for now, you just want to get up here. If you don't make it, a jump, dash, double jump will get you up. So don't worry too much about it. Now we want to make our way down here. The best thing to do here is... I'm having trouble doing it, but basically, if you can get a hook shot that, like, falls off there, yeah, you get a really, really big one. Either way, make your way across here. There's something really important about the hook shot that I haven't mentioned yet. I think this next one will be a good place to do it. Refill in this station if you want. Kill this dude, because if you don't, he's going to follow you and give you an extra obstacle to deal with in this next room. But make your way over to here. So something that will be very useful the second time we're in this room is that when you're hookshotting, you are actually immune to knockback. So like, you will still take the damage from things when you're on your hookshot, but you'll no longer take the big knockback like that we saw there. I continued my swing as if I hadn't gotten hit at all. That means that hookshot is really, really useful for rooms where you're getting hit by a billion different things. When we come back to these rooms with the power on, you'll see where hookshot really comes into is advantageous. We'll take a look at that. Make your way over to here. We are trying to get the teleport key. The way to do that thing there is to basically use your shot and double jump. You will need to kill this dude to unlock the teleport key. He takes 15 shots. If you haven't taken too much damage getting over here, just stand there, let him, you know, push you back with his laser, and shoot him with good timed shots, and you'll get him before he gets you. You'll say, I only took like 2 shots from him. And we will get the teleport key. Really, really, really useful. If you fall in here, best to just kind of make your way back up. When you're doing hook shots, one thing that you do want to avoid, and we'll see if I can do it on purpose, is ending up inside of these. When you're trying to go forward, like, more quickly, you know, you want to do your hook shots in a way that makes you, you know, fall down and get it. Because, you know, you want to make the longest chain possible. You want to fire your hook shot while you're falling down. If you land inside of these, or like if your hook shot shoots you inside of these little corridors, or like in these little nooks, A, when they're filled with electricity, you'll take damage, and B, you won't be able to hook shot again as quickly. So just try to avoid doing that when you go through these rooms. Make your way up here. My headphones fall out. To get up here, the best movement you want to do is dash again, because going through this screen actually resets your dash as long as you, I think if you jump and dash, yeah, you lose it. But if you just dash up out of it, you get your dash back. And the reason you want to do that is so that you can get up to this block here. Jump up here, activate this teleport. Also really important that you remember to do this, because we're going to come back here pretty soon. But first, we need the charge shot. So let's make our way all the way out to here. This sand is awful. If you land in this sand, you lose your double jump and also your V-dash. It's the only thing in the game that will take that away from you. Don't land in it. Instead, we want to hook our way up. This is a room where you can really see your momentum dying completely if you hit a slanted ceiling. But if you do it at the start, don't worry about it too much. Make your way down to here. You want to time your shot so that you end up flying up through here. It's a bit tough because when you're falling, it's very easy to mix the timing for that. If you land in the sand, just jump up here. And either hook shot and V-dash across, or possibly even just jump V-dash. I'm not totally sure. You might be able to make that. I recommend just using the hook shot. You'll make this jump a shame a few times when you're playing. The first few times, don't worry about it. Whee! This room is a bit of a challenge to get to the diskette because if you have to walk through this long sand, it's a ton of time loss. Basically, just try to time your jumps and be, wow, my hook shot didn't hit and I got it. So yeah, this is what happens if you fail it. You basically got to walk with this worm that you can't kill chasing after you. You want to make it up to where the diskette is because walking across this is much faster than trying to go through the sand over here. You can jump over the diskette by destroying only the top block there. If you do collect it, don't worry about it. It's not that much faster. Make our way up to here. V-dash through this block. These tubes here are really good for getting good hook shots. But if you do jump too high, you can see that you're actually slowing yourself down. So, you know, the fewer hook shots you can fit in, the better. Because, you know, the fewer longer hook shots you fit in specifically. If you're doing this all the time, you might as well be walking. But if you're doing this, it's generally a bit better. Now here is where tap hold is going to help. You can see that I am basically just rubbing myself up against this. I think this is a bit faster than walking, but it might be about the same speed. Either way, you can avoid a lot of stuff just by doing this. The one place you do not want to be hitting jump hold is when you're trying to get boosts off of these blocks, or off of these speed panels. If you start jumping, it'll kill your momentum immediately. So what you want to do is hit this, hit that one, and then just keep going. From here, we need to get the plasma blaster. We will do this, or the plasma shield. The way that we do this is with another dash reset across screens. So you want to jump, V-dash, V-dash, and grab it. And we get the plasma field. Really nice. You can also do this directly out of the water for be a little bit faster, but don't worry about it too much. You know, if you need to, it's very easy to just jump, jump, dash. That might not always work for you. Just practice the timing a little bit and you'll get it. It's very natural once you've practiced it a bit. The plasma booster, plasma shield will basically do 1 damage every frame to anything that it touches, which means that it is now a viable strategy to just rub yourself up against it. It's great. Make our way through here. Because we had the V-dash, we can skip eating the propeller. This room is where your swimming really needs to be on point because, as you can see, these jellyfish, especially if you're moving quickly, can still hit you, even though you've got the plasma shield. You know, a lot of the time, if you're close to them, they'll hit the shield and die. But if they knock you up while you're trying to go down, it's a big waste of time. So do your best to avoid them. Make your way up here. This is where the V-dash will allow us to skip having to get the propeller and flip the bricks around. We can basically just use it to skip straight up into the room here And even better, we can use it to jump our way through here and get the charge booster, or charge shot. Wow, I don't know the names of any of the upgrades, so that's fine. Grab this, make sure that you hook shot off of this green block, because if you don't do that, your path is immediately blocked, so. Doesn't really matter how you get up over to this other side, as long as you hit this block here. And then don't hit the next one, because you want to just go straight over to the Serpent 5 boss fight. Which, by the way, we're skipping. Useful thing to know about the Serpent 5 boss fight. The trigger for the fight is on the platforms. On the first platform, it is basically, I think, a 3x3 tile on top of it. On all of the other ones, it's not at all. So what you're going to want to do is get up onto this block, double jump and hold right to get over the first one. Then, and if you don't feel confident in this, there's no trigger for the fight down here, so you can just slowly make your way over to the side of the room like this. But seriously, the only triggers for this fight are one tile above the left and right exit points. So like one tile above this, or platform. So one tile above here and one tile above here. If you're really cheeky, you can even like jump, dash, and land right in the middle without starting the fight. Don't worry about it. But what you actually want to do is just jump, dash, and double jump to make your way up over this without touching it at all. Then we are going to do our second one-frame trick. This one will be hitting double jump and hook shot at the same time, or one frame off from each other. You want to jump first and then hook shot. And as you can see, like that's my normal double jump. And when I do this trick correctly, you get way more height, and it lets you just V-dash up to this bit here. This is the only place in the run that you need to do this, but, you know, as you can see, if you miss it a few times, you start losing a decent amount of time, so just practice that, and go forward, and don't fight a boss. Make our way up here. You don't have to read that screen. Now that we have the charge shot, we just want to make our way to a teleporter as quickly as possible. That teleporter is right here. Okay, so now if you don't have shoot and use on the same button, you can just use this teleporter like normal. If you do have shoot and use on the same button, as you can see, I can't. So because of the way that I do teleporter storage, I have to do one here, which makes this a good place to explain it. Teleporter storage, it looks like this, and basically, do I not have that? Not important. Oh wait, no, this is the one that I want. But so basically, teleporter storage is similar to text storage, where you've got the teleport screen up, and but you can still move around freely. You can see that you can move around, you can jump, you can dash, you can hook shot. It's all good. The one thing that you cannot do while you are here is shoot, because that selects something, and if you select it, the teleporter storage goes away. Also, if you jump, or if you attempt to jump while you don't have a jump active, so like if you're in the air and you double jump, or importantly, if you take damage and you're not actionable for a few frames and you press jump during those frames, that will also deactivate teleporter storage. So when you're taking hits from enemies when you have teleporter storage, be really careful, because that's kind of how most people lose it. Not that important for us right now because we are just going over to this spot, but you will immediately then get another teleporter storage. And if you don't have teleport storage, or if you don't have your buttons on jump and use on the same one, this is where you will actually have to use teleport storage and bring it a few places. If you want some safety for this strat, because you will kind of only get one shot for it, there is a save point right over here. I kind of recommend taking this your first few times, but once you're comfortable with it, just skip it. So go back to this teleporter here and get teleport storage. By the way, this is important. If you fail teleport storage and end up on the map screen, do not do the inputs for teleport storage again immediately. Exit out of the map screen. You will soft lock if you don't do that. If you're on the map screen and you do the inputs for teleporter storage. I don't think I can show it off because of my setup, but trust me, it's a bad scene. So once again, the button inputs are shoot and use on this, or sorry, it's map, shoot and use on the same frame, then map. When your shoot and use are the same, you don't need to worry about hitting them on the same frame. And that's why I do my controls the way that I do, but you do still have to hit map. One nice thing about my control setup is that it's actually exactly the same to do text storage and teleporter storage. So that's kind of why I do it the way I do it. It just makes both tricks much, much easier for me. You can do it however you'd like. Once you have this text storage, you need to take it over to the power button for the station. That is down here, V-dash through. Be careful with your jumps, because if you get hit and do one, you'll lose it. So what we want to do is activate this text box and then teleport over to this square right here. The way that you set this up is by moving yourself into this corner here and then lining it up to right about here. You'll get the specific motion for this, but you just basically want to set it up so that when you press jump and right to get over to this monitor, you are already lined up on this teleporter. Then you want to use the teleporter, use the text box, which, open up the text box that turns the power on the station. Use the teleporter immediately afterwards and teleport over to that teleport there. For me, that means I have to shoot twice because it's use to read the text box and then shoot to activate the teleporter. For you, if you're using a different control scheme, it's use first, then shoot. And it will look something like this. I could do it a little bit faster than I did there. That was actually a little bit dangerous. But the big thing here is that by activating teleporter storage with the text box up, you actually convert it into text storage. And we now have this. This is really, really useful because it means that we won't turn on the power in the station, which if you've played the game, you know that totally changes the layout of the map until this text box finishes scrolling. So to take the most advantage of this, we want to walk all the way back into the security sector, holding on to this text storage. This one is, I believe, 2 boxes, so be really careful about not shooting here. Luckily, the plasma shield makes it so that you don't have to worry so much. And by the way, text storage actually breaks the hitboxes of a bunch of things. Like, stuff can't hurt you or certain stuff can't hurt you when you're in text storage. And that's why that dude down there is not moving. Basically, he's not active until we finish activating the teleport storage, the text storage, and turn the power on to the station. So you want to make your way into this room, and you want to go past this shutter right here. Because when you restore power, this shuts down and stops you, and you're also being chased by this dude. So he's really annoying. I tend to just get him while I'm moving along this next section. But now that power is restored to the station, a whole bunch of things are going to turn on, and the security area gets way more dangerous. Let's see about that. You're going to want to make your way through here. This, because of text storage, doesn't actually have a hitbox. I believe if you were to leave and come back into the room, it would have one, but we kind of broke it. Nice. We're going to want to make our way through these platforms here, or through these swooshy things here. you need to use the hook shot to make your way through. This timing on this can be really annoying. You just need a big enough swing that it doesn't, like, stop you in the middle of it. But these things will annoy the crap out of you when you go. Just practice them and you'll get them, basically. He says as he fails it a bunch. Down below, there is a can robot that we need to kill. We need to kill him because he unlocks these doors up here. 3 charge shots and just kind of rubbing yourself up against him will get him, but try not to take too much damage. Now we need to activate all 4 of these bits. Oh, God. I hesitated, and you don't want to hesitate in this room. You basically want to slot yourself in between these 2. Your walk speed is slightly faster than them, so you're kind of just on their time. Jump off this, get a nice hook shot. Maybe nicer than that, but activate this. Once we activate all of these, we're going to go to the Security Overmind and then basically finish the game. So, these are some of the hardest rooms in the game. If you end up dying on these, don't worry about it too much. I'm going to attempt to show off a little trick for this can robot here, this guy right over here. But basically, if you can break certain enemy AIs in the game, if when they choose their next move, you are on the same X coordinate as they are. So like if you're lined up horizontally with them, you know, above them. It's a bit inconsistent, and the best way that I've found to do this is to just go for it. Okay, so yeah, like if he starts moving, that means that you haven't gotten it. We'll see if he just doesn't want to give it to me. There we go. So yeah, we've basically broken him when we do this. If you don't get it, don't worry. You'll take 2 damage and then continue along your way. But if you do, it's a bit faster. It's mostly run into the room and jump at a certain time. It'll be set. Make your way across this room, and while you're doing it, buffer up a charge shot. The reason for that is you want to shoot your way through here, and you want to do this really quickly because this room is actually awful. It's really hard to dodge all of these bullets, but if you just keep moving immediately, like right from the start, you'll get yourself into a good position where you can head to this save room really quickly. If you don't do that, you're now playing a bullet hell game, and good luck. We are getting over to the 2 hardest rooms in the game now. So we were in this room briefly previously. It is now way, way worse. All I can tell you is really, really abuse your hookshot knockback invulnerability, because if not, the falling electricity is going to be your absolute bane. Let's give it a try. So I got a little knockback there, but because I was able to hook shot, I immediately went over. If your hooks are a bit shorter in this room, don't worry about it too much. If you spend too much time trying to get really big ones, you will kind of end up dunking yourself in the water, and the water kills you ridiculously fast. So like, what you really want to do is just not touch that at all. And there we go. That wasn't too bad. Anything that doesn't kill you in this room, consider that a success. By the way that I do this room right here, sort of super minor, is as soon as I see the screen transition starting, like to load the room up, I'm holding forward and I shoot. Try it out a few times and you'll figure out a timing that works for you. So, that's Hell Room 1. All I can really tell you is good luck. Now to Hell Room 2. This one I find a little more consistent. If you do basically the same thing that I did the first time, which is hook shot off of the first one, you should be able to just get it. This dude is really annoying though. A lot of people don't kill him. I just prefer not to be getting lasers shot at me. So you do 1 charge shot and rub yourself against him while charging a second one, and do a second charge shot, he'll die, you won't have to worry about him anymore. Charge shot your way through here, get up, and make your way back out of the room, which is now more dangerous because it's got these blocks right here and falling electricity. But if you just hook shot along the ceiling, you can kind of nope out of most of this. So even if you're doing smaller hook shots, a lot of the time it'll still keep you out of danger and keep you out of the bad water. That can be a better way to handle it. If you're feeling brave, you should just go straight down into the next room from here. If not, go up and take a safety save. No one will judge you for it. This last room is easier than the first two, but it is still pretty dangerous because everything in it, except for this ball, which you can pretty much ignore, does 3 damage to you. Here, you really want to abuse the iframes of the V-dash, but if you do it too early on a lot of them, obviously you will still take the hit and take 3 damage. Eventually, when you start coming in here with a lot of health, you will actually start using the V-dash to get through the, or you'll actually start taking damage to get through these things. But for now, your goal should basically just be to not really get hit. If you do have the extra health to spare, getting hit by one of these is fine because, as you can see, there's no real good way to avoid the, to fit these in a cycle. You have to go through the first one when it's off, activate the screen, and then the second one will be active. So if you're low on health, just wait it out. If not, you can do a little damage. You can take a little damage to go a little bit quicker. I find that these are way easier to do going backwards than forwards because the conveyor belt actually works with you. Whereas when you're going forward, you can see I'm kind of off cycle with these things. I have to jump up or dash through several of them or wait for them. It's really slow. When you're like this, you basically just hold forward and run through. Nice and easy. If you make it to this point, you're basically home free. There's one more thing that can damage you, but it's not really worth that much. Don't go in there, it's slower. But if you just hold forward with a charge shot in this room, these bullets will not hit you, I promise. Now we've got the Security Overmind. It's basically an auto-scroller. It's not that difficult on its own if you've played this game a bunch of times and you're really comfortable with the controls. It's a fairly tough boss fight, but it's not too bad if you've played this game a bunch. However, just to make things difficult for ourselves, we're going to do it with teleporter storage. If you mess this up, don't worry, it's only going to cost you the walk back up to this the teleporter's right here above the boss room. It's probably only about 10 seconds. I recommend that you try to do teleporter storage every time you do this fight, but if you mess it up, don't worry about it. It's not run reset worthy until your times are fairly high. So with that said, let's do the Security Overmind. Also, feel free to take a safety save if you're not confident that you're going to be able to beat him. It takes a while to get back up to the save point up in the middle of the security sector, but it's fine. No one's going to judge you. The big thing about this fight is if you take damage and try to jump, you will lose your teleporter storage. You're not going to shoot in this fight. Shooting is useless. So rather than jumping, most of the time you're going to want to use your V-dash. So V-dash through his big laser. When he walks at you like that, you can proc him into jumping by jumping yourself. So you just do a little hop while he's walking at you and he will start jumping. Do single jumps over his balls and you won't, or the little razor blade things, and you won't lose your teleport storage. The biggest thing about keeping your storage throughout this fight is when you get hit, don't panic, because a lot of the time you'll try to double jump away and that will lose your teleport storage. Phase 2 is a little tougher. Just V-dash up all this. I find that short hopping around that is the best way to handle it. But the most important thing is lining up this ball. You want to jump through this and then line yourself up about with his leg. dash over him, double jump, and land. Ooh, I almost lost my teleport storage there. Don't stand too close to him or the ball will hit you, and if that happens, you will basically lose the pattern and everything will be awful. Even if you take a bunch of damage in this fight, it's fine. Ah, I lost my teleport storage there. The reason that I did that, this is a good example, is because I reflexively jumped after that ball hit to try to avoid the thingy, to try to avoid the damage from the saw blades. But I was in a cutscene, which meant my jump wasn't active. That killed teleporter storage. You know, like even decent runners will still do that fairly often. So if you can't keep teleporter storage throughout the fight, just do this. At this point, I will include a clip of what you're meant to do when you do keep teleporter storage throughout the fight, because there is a soft lock you can get in, but cut to me later. Anyway, we are now going to teleport over to this teleporter over here. It's the very first one that we saw at the start of the game. And it is basically because this is the way to get to the final boss. Make your way up this elevator. Not much you can do to slow that up, unfortunately. You can get a nice hook shot here, though. Make your way into this room here, and if you didn't know, these little, like, half platforms here, you can actually fall through them if you hook shot. Like, while you're hook shotting, you go through them, and if you fall far enough, you just fall through them. This here, if you can, try to hook shot through it, but if you miss it one time, just hold left and V-dash down and you'll pop through it. So don't get stuck trying to hook shot through this a bunch of times. If you mess it up, just do it like that. Have to hit all 4 of these screens to start the final boss fight. And then we basically just have the virus. So, for the virus, there are a few different strategies. If you have 25 health, you have a lot more leeway in how much you can do. First up, Shell Unit. He always attacks in the same pattern, and we're going to exploit his very first move to lock him in place and end the fight quickly. When the fight starts, Shell Unit will lift his hand up and dash towards the player, wherever they are. However, he can't dash down. Therefore, if you position yourself perfectly in his center, he'll get permanently stuck in place, allowing you to shoot and plasma shield him to death with no risk. To get this, you'll want to wait until he hits the ground, take a hit, and then walk into his center while your iframes are still active. Waiting maximizes your iframes so that you can lock onto him without taking a second hit. But even if you do, it's still faster than fighting him fair. If you miss 1 to 2 X coordinates to the left or right, he'll fly off at a slow enough pace that you should be able to kill him, or mostly kill him, by following him and plasma charge shotting him to death. If all else fails, keep charge shotting him until he gets to the part where he shoots homing bullets at you. Here, stand far enough away that your plasma shield still hits him, and charge shot him to death. If you get the right positioning, the homing bullets can't hurt you at all, they'll just fly around you, and he'll stand completely still long enough for you to kill him. The second Shell Unit has some faster strategies you can find, but for this we're just going to focus on charge shotting him as fast as possible. I find I can get into a loop where I jump and charge shot him every time he bobs down until his laser sword attack comes out. This sword attack can't be dodged without the H-dash, so instead we're going to take the hit and then try to spend as much of our invincibility as possible hitting him with the plasma shield. To do this, jump up and get hit by the swords, then V-dash into his body, then, while you're still up there, double jump to just keep hitting him even further with the plasma shield, all while still charging and shooting him for as much damage as you possibly can. Finally, when he starts his dash attack to try to hit you, you can basically just rub up against him and either tank the hit to finish him off or dodge out of the way and finish him with charge shots. You'll want as much health as possible going into the virus fight, but taking a few hits here to finish him, especially when you're already taking 2 energy tanks, is totally fine. Finally, we get to the virus fight. To start, you can still move while his text box is coming up, so you'll want to move left and start charging a shot if you don't have one already from the previous fight, because they will carry over between them. His hands have no hitbox when they aren't attacking, so you can get a few hits with the plasma shield while you're still shooting it. However, he starts his attacks with a random delay, and all of them except for the blue ball attack will do 3 damage that you really, really don't want to take once you're in this form. So you're basically going to start playing a game of chicken with them. When you destroy one of them, both will start doing attacks, making the pattern even harder to dodge. But if you're certain you're about to get hit, you can at least try to jump up and dash into the little shield underneath his head. That's because that actually only does 1 damage and gives you a bunch of iframes that you can then use to dodge the rest of the attacks. So that's going to be a pretty good way to lessen the damage that you're taking on the fight if you're not completely confident that you can dodge all of his different attacks. Once the hands are down, almost done, you just want to get up to the platforms that showed up with and charge up a shot. Jump and fire the shot as soon as you're over the barrier. Like, jump towards his head and fire a shot at it as soon as you're over the barrier. Start charging your next one as you double jump into the head to start plasma shielding him. Fire off your next plasma shot as soon as you have it and start charging a third one. Dash up and try to get the third shot off before you fall into the shield, which blocks all damage to the face from below it. If you do this absolutely perfectly, it's possible to beat him in 2 cycles, but if you can get it in 3, like, that's totally fine. You're only going to be taking 3 damage from the barrier, and he'll go down pretty... I usually get him down pretty quickly on the 3rd one, so yes. But after that, we're just about done. Timing of the run ends when you skip the final text box. So your timer is still running right now. This text box right here, where the virus calls you a fool, as soon as you skip that, that's time. I've started my live split because I hit the button by reflex. Don't worry about it. And that is ESA any percent. I'll definitely have to re-record a few parts of this to clean up, show some alternate strategies, edit out some of the stuff, especially the last boss fight, which it's really hard to fight and talk about at the same time. But I hope you found this useful. I'm going to put this on YouTube with annotations for the various sections, so if you want to come back and reference a specific thing, you'll be able to do that very easily. And I really hope that gets you to try the game out, because it's really, really fun. It's got a lot of movement tech in it, it's got a lot of weird skips, and honestly, the run has a lot of room for improvement. Like, the world record is like 45 seconds ahead of the 2nd place. And even that has a few spots where, like, the movement could be, just a little bit nicer. So, like, if you want to try this, we're a really fun community. We have a Discord. Hempuli, the developer, hangs out in there and can, help explain some of the tricks that you're doing and why the game was coded the way it was coded. It's really fun. Come join us. There will be a link to the Discord in the description of the video. If you're submitting to speedrun.com, we take IGT, but we use RTA as the main thing. So, like, if you don't remember to grab this screen at the end, don't worry about it too much. But that will be about it. I hope you found this helpful. I hope that it inspires a few people to run this game for the first time. If you've never speedrun a game before, I think that this is a really, it's a very challenging game, but it is just a really, really fun speedrun to do. So if you've ever beaten this game before, the jump to speedrunning is not as hard as you would think. So I really, really recommend it. Anyway, thank you very much, and have a good day. Bye-bye.